It's just past sundown. You're standing on your own back porch, sweet tea sweating in your hand, and you feel it, that first little sting on the back of your arm, then one on your ankle. You slap. Too late. Inside of a minute, you're swatting the air like a crazy man, backing through your own screen door, handing the whole yard over to them for the night. Now hear this. A plain 5-gallon bucket, the kind sitting empty in your garage right now, can kill mosquitoes by the thousands. Not the ones buzzing your ear tonight. Their babies. Their eggs. A whole generation before a single one of them ever grows wings and comes looking for your blood. And the folks who sell $400 propane traps and monthly yard spraying contracts have no reason on earth to tell you that. None. Because there's no money in a bucket. Stay with me, because the one thing that turns that empty bucket into a killing machine costs less than a cup of coffee at the gas station, and I'm going to show you exactly what it is and exactly where to set it. My name's Roy Fontenot. I've lived my whole 68 years down in Vermilion Parish, Louisiana, out past Abbeville, where the rice fields turn into marsh and the marsh turns into the Gulf. If you want to know about mosquitoes, come talk to a Cajun. My daddy, Alcide, farmed rice and crawfish on the same ground his daddy did, and I'll tell you, we grew skeeters better than we ever grew rice. Some evenings out there, the air by the levee would hum. You'd breathe them in. So I know a thing or two about buying my way out of the problem. Over the years, I have handed money to just about every gadget they make. I bought the electric zapper that hangs from the porch and pops all night. I bought the propane machine that's supposed to breathe like a person and suck them in, $380, plus a tank of propane every couple weeks. I paid a company to come fog my yard once a month. My wife Darlene finally sat me down and asked how much I'd spent, and when I did the math, I about fell out of my chair. Years of it. Thousands of dollars. And we were still eating supper indoors every June. Here's the first thing. Nobody selling you anything wants you to understand. Almost every product they sell you goes after the wrong mosquito at the wrong time. Only the females bite. The males never touch you. They just sip flowers. A female bites because she needs a meal of blood to make her eggs. That's the whole reason she comes for you. And after she's full of your blood, she does not fly off to die. She flies off to find water. Any little bit of still water she can find, and she lays a raft of eggs on top of it. One female lays 100, 200 eggs at a crack, and she'll do it 3 or 4 times in her short life. So while you're out there swatting one mosquito, that one mosquito already represents 1,000 more coming behind her. That zapper on my porch, university research going back years has shown those bug zappers kill mostly harmless moths, beetles, and the very insects that eat mosquitoes. Studies looking at what actually gets fried in those things found mosquitoes make up almost none of the catch, a fraction of a percent. You're paying to electrocute the good guys and light up your porch while the females you actually care about slip right past. Because a female mosquito isn't hunting a purple light. She's hunting the carbon dioxide you breathe out and the heat coming off your skin. So chasing the adults with lights and fogs and machines is like bailing a boat with a coffee cup while the hole in the bottom keeps letting more water in, therefore you don't fight the mosquito you can see. You go after the water where the next 1,000 are being born, and here's the beautiful part. You don't hunt for that water, you make the females come to yours. This is the whole trick, and I'm going to give it to you right now, plain, because I'm not going to string you along for 20 minutes. You take that empty bucket. A dark one is best. Black or dark green, because a mama mosquito trusts dark, shady, still water more than she trusts bright, clean water. You fill it most of the way with water from the hose. Then you throw in a good handful of grass clippings or a few dead leaves or a scoop of straw. Anything green and organic, you let it sit 2 or 3 days in a shady corner of the yard. What happens next is the key to everything. That grass starts to break down in the water and it begins to ferment just a little. It turns funky. It gives off a smell, a slightly rotten, grassy, swampy smell, and to you and me, that's just a stinky bucket. But to a pregnant female mosquito hunting for a nursery, that smell is a neon sign that says, here, right here, lay your eggs here. It smells like the perfect cradle. Rich, still, full of the very gunk her larvae eat. She can't resist it. She'll pass over the clean bird bath and come straight to your funky bucket. Now here's the part that turns a breeding pond into a graveyard. On its own, a stinky bucket of water is the worst thing you could ever put in your yard because you'd be running the best mosquito hatchery in the parish. So you don't leave it on its own. You drop in one little donut-shaped tablet called a mosquito dunk. That dunk is the coffee money secret. A pack costs just a few dollars, and it's sold at any hardware store or garden center. And what's inside it is the thing the industry would just as soon you never learned about, because it does most of what those expensive services do for pennies. Inside that dunk is a natural soil bacteria. The long name is Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis, but everybody just calls it BTI. It was first found living in the dirt, and here's how it works. Simple as I can put it. That bacteria makes a tiny protein crystal. When a mosquito larva, one of those little wigglers swimming in the water, eats that crystal, the crystal breaks open the lining of the larva's gut. The larva stops eating and dies within a day or two. Every wiggler in that bucket, gone. And now the part that ought to make you angry, you didn't know it sooner. That crystal only works on the gut of mosquito larvae and a couple of close cousins like black flies and fungus gnats. It does nothing to anything else. Nothing. It will not hurt your dog if he drinks from the bucket. It won't hurt birds that bathe in it, or bees, or fish, or frogs, or your grandkids. The Environmental Protection Agency reviewed BTI and cleared it as safe enough that it's used to treat drinking water cisterns for people in some parts. It's been used since the late 1970s. It is one of the most targeted, gentlest tools we have, and most folks have never even heard its name because there's no salesman knocking on your door for a $3 donut. So think about what you've built. The fermenting water lures the pregnant female in. She lands, she lays her 200 eggs, and she flies off thinking she did her job. Those eggs hatch. Every single larva starts feeding in that water, and every single one of them eats the BTI and dies before it ever grows wings. You didn't kill one mosquito, you killed her, her whole clutch, and all the biting daughters that clutch would have become. Turn one bucket into 10, and you've quietly wiped out generation after generation all summer long while your neighbor's still out there paying somebody to fog the hedges. Now, is this just an old Cajun's porch theory? No. This is exactly the science the CDC used for real. Down in Puerto Rico, government researchers built what they call an autocidal gravid ovitrap, which is a fancy name for the very same idea, a container of water that lures egg-laying females and kills what they leave behind. They set these traps out across whole neighborhoods and track the mosquito numbers. In the areas blanketed with these traps, the number of biting females dropped dramatically by well over half, and in some studies far more, and they even saw fewer people getting sick from mosquito-borne disease. Real study, real streets, real families, a trap of water. That's the government's own research telling you the bucket beats the machine. Let me give you the exact recipe so you can do this weekend and get it right. Use a container that holds at least a gallon. A 5-gallon bucket is ideal, and dark colored if you've got it. Fill it about 3/4 with water. Add a couple big handfuls of grass clippings, hay, or leaves, and let it steep 2 or 3 days so it gets that ripe smell. That's your bait. Then drop in the mosquito dunk. One standard dunk treats up to 100 square feet of water surface, so a single dunk is plenty for one bucket, and one dunk keeps working for about 30 days before you need a fresh one. Set your bucket in the shade, not the open sun, tucked near a fence line, under a shrub, along the edge of the yard where it's cool and quiet. That's where she wants to lay. Space a few of them around the yard, maybe one every 20 or 30 feet along the shady edges. Top off the water with the hose when it gets low, and swap the dunk once a month. That's it. A few dollars a month and 10 minutes of your time. Now, I've been collecting and testing every one of these methods for years, and if you want the full picture in one place, I've put it all together for you. I wrote a guide called Deep Roots. It covers this bucket system, the plant strategies, the property walk, all of it laid out season by season so you're never guessing what to do next. It's 47 pages of the honest, cheap, old-school approach to keeping your land livable without handing your wallet to a spray truck. You can find it linked down in the description for $97, and everything in it works, whether you've got a city lot or a back 40 on the bayou. If you're the kind of person who'd rather own the knowledge than rent a service, that's exactly what Deep Roots is for. But let's get back to the water, because this matters more than anything else I've said. Standing water is a loaded gun. The whole reason this works is that mosquitoes love still water, so if you make these buckets and then forget the dunk, or the dunk wears out and you don't replace it, you have not built a trap. You have built the best breeding pond in the neighborhood, and you'll make your problem 10 times worse. So the rule is simple, and it's not optional. No dunk, no bucket. If you're going to hold water, there is always a live dunk in it. Mark your calendar for the first of every month, and while you're at it, walk your whole property one time with fresh eyes, because your yard is already full of accidental buckets you never think about. A saucer under a flower pot, a kid's old sandbox toy, a wheelbarrow left tipped up, a clogged gutter, a tarp with a sag in it, a dog bowl. Mosquitoes can breed in as little as a bottle cap of water, and it only takes them about a week to go from egg to biter in the summer heat. The extension folks at the University of Florida call it tip and toss. Once a week, walk the yard and dump anything holding water. That one habit, plus your dunk buckets, does more than any truck that sprays your bushes. Let me be straight with you about what this will and won't do, because I'm not here to sell you a miracle. This bucket system is a slow, steady killer. It knocks down the mosquitoes that are born on your property. Give it 2-3 weeks and you will genuinely notice fewer of them each evening. But it is not a force field. If you live near a marsh like I do, or next to a ditch, a creek, or a low woods that floods, some mosquitoes will always fly in from off your land. Certain salt marsh mosquitoes travel miles on the wind, and no bucket of yours is going to stop those. And if you're throwing a wedding or a big family reunion this Saturday and you need the yard clear tonight, the bucket can't do that. That's a job for a professional. And here's where I'll tell you plain, spending money is sometimes the right call. A licensed mosquito service running a barrier spray usually costs somewhere around $75 to $100 a visit, and for a special event or for someone in the family with a real health reason to avoid bites, that is money well spent. It's real, and it's sometimes necessary. What I'm against is being talked into that every single month, all season, year after year, as your only plan, when a handful of dunk buckets and a weekly walk around the yard would have carried most of the load for the price of a few coffees. That's the part they never mention. They'll sell you the ceiling when the floor was almost free. Now, maybe you're sitting there thinking, this doesn't apply to me, Roy. I don't have a big yard. I've got a little patio or a balcony or half a lot in town. Good. This works even better for you because you have less territory to cover. One dark bucket or even a wide-mouthed coffee can of water with a pinch of grass and a broken-off piece of a dunk set in the shady corner of your patio will pull the egg layers away from you. If you've only got a balcony, use a small tub, keep it in shade, keep a bit of dunk in it, and you've made yourself a trap for a couple of dollars. And if you're on the other end, if you've got acres, don't think you need 40 buckets. Concentrate them where the mosquitoes actually breed and rest, the shady low spots along the tree line, near the barn, by any ditch or pond edge. If you have a real pond or a rain barrel, you can drop dunks right in the pond. It won't hurt your fish or your frogs one bit, and it'll shut down the mosquitoes breeding in it. New place or old homestead, city lot or bayou back 40, the same simple idea scales to whatever you've got. You are not too small for this, and you are not too big. I think about my daddy outside out on that levee swatting all evening, because swatting was all anybody knew to do back then. He'd have laughed at me for the years I spent buying machines. And he'd have loved this, because it's how his people always thought. Use what's already in the shed, work with the nature around you instead of against it, and don't let a man in a nice truck charge you for what a bucket does for free. So here's what you really got today. Not a gadget, not a subscription. You got back a piece of knowledge that was always true, quietly buried under years of shiny products and monthly bills. The mosquito's own instinct, the very thing that makes her dangerous, turned into the trap that ends her line. A dark bucket, a handful of grass, a $3 donut, and a walk around the yard once a week. You're the kind of person who'd rather understand how a thing works than keep paying somebody to keep you in the dark. That's who this is for. So do me one favor down in the comments, and I do mean type it out because I read them. Tell me what state or what region you're in, and whether you're fighting yard mosquitoes right off your own property or the kind that fly in off a marsh, a creek, or the woods. I'll come back and help you place your buckets right for your situation. If you want to keep recovering the old, cheap, honest ways of doing things, the ways that worked long before there was something to sell, come along with us and subscribe. We're just a bunch of folks remembering what the salesman made us forget. And next time I'm going to show you the one common backyard plant, probably growing near your door right now, that mosquitoes will physically fly around to avoid, and the exact spot to put it so it actually works instead of just sitting there pretty. Set your buckets out this weekend. Keep that porch. It was always yours. You made it all the way here with me, and I'm glad this video showed the idea, but I saved the full bucket trap build for my members, picking up right where we stopped. Inside the Amish garden circle, you can ask me your own question, and a real person, me, answers you myself. You won't be alone. You'll belong. Just point your phone at the code, cancel anytime, one click. Now that those mosquitoes are handled, let me show you the old Amish way to clear every bug from your garden, safe around your pets and your grandchildren. It's starting right here